Hi everyone, welcome to Security Social, a series of videos and podcasts specifically for the cybersecurity industry. I'm your host, Eve Featherstone, a recruitment consultant with more than 6 years experience within the industry. Really excited today. I've got an awesome guest, Nathan Burke, the Chief Marketing Officer at Accionis. So thanks so much for joining us, Nathan.
Yeah, happy to be here. This is going to be fun.
Brilliant. So what I really love is that you, I suppose you call what your organisation does as solving the least sexy part of cybersecurity. However, what my favourite quote is that you describe what you do as a Toyota Camry as well of cybersecurity, and all that falls into asset management. So welcome, Nathan. Great to have you here.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Brilliant. So you've certainly entertained me. You opened up to me your series, which is all about how's everybody holding up, which I thought was absolutely brilliant. To be honest, I was in between what my favourite was with Sinbad and Penn. Both of them absolutely brilliant. Have you got your next episode due to be released?
So we're going to do one more episode, and I am really trying to swing for the fences on a final guest that will be like completely amazing. So I'm going to hold out a little bit until I can get someone really, really good, and then do the last episode. So I'm hoping in the next couple of weeks we'll be able to lock that down.
Oh, that's exciting. You able to reveal who that would be?
Oh, no chance.
Not yet, no. Okay.
Not yet.
Brilliant. No, I'm really excited. I'll certainly look out for that. And also, if anyone's interested in that as well, I can certainly put that as a link, because I think it's absolutely great. So today I want to discuss, how relevant is the market role in cybersecurity, and why should, I suppose, all divisions take note. So let's get started. Firstly, Nathan, tell sort of our audience a little bit about yourself, and why is it that you chose a career in cybersecurity?
Yeah, so no paths are linear, right?
Yeah.
And mine certainly wasn't. So I actually, I went to college and my majors were sociology and cinema studies. So that's where I was learning a lot of the video stuff I do today, and there's lots of it, as you just mentioned. And so after I graduated from college, I was actually going to get my PhD in sociology, but then decided to work for a little while. And I know you're probably going to be surprised by this, but there weren't an awful lot of sociology jobs, knocking down my door. I know. So while I was in college, on the side, just to make money, I taught myself how to program. And so I was basically a web developer. And so for about 7 years, I was working for a law firm and several other companies where I was building their websites. And as I was doing it, I started to realize, like, I'm not really a coder, right? I really understand and like the promotional aspect a lot more than I did just building the sites in isolation. And someone that's in sociology by themselves, just writing code is probably not the best environment.
Yeah.
So after that, I went to my first startup. That was a great experience, and I've kind of never turned back. And now Accionis is my third cybersecurity company. The first one was CloudLock, which was acquired by Cisco. The last one was Hexadite that Microsoft acquired. And now I'm at Accionis and having a lot of fun doing it. And I'm never going to work for another company that isn't in cybersecurity, because this is just too much fun.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic to hear. And so, how relevant is the marketing role in cybersecurity?
So I am biased, but I think early on, I don't think there's a more important role than getting the story right and how you're going to go to market. And this is the first time that I've been at a company where I was the first US hire before we ever had a product. So usually in most cases, you'll have engineering build the MVP of the product. you'll have your first few beta users, and then you'll hire marketing. And there's been a shift in the market. And this is my second company in a row where I was the first US hire, but this one, it was before we ever had a product at all. And it was great because it let me kind of live the problem and just talk to a bunch of information security people that I could say, listen, I have nothing to sell you. I just want to talk. And it's just a very different dynamic when I'm saying, I really want to understand this problem you have. Eventually, we're going to have a product, but that's like a year off. So I got to have these conversations with people where I didn't have an angle that I was trying to get them to buy something, and they were much more open to having that conversation. And as you said at the beginning, that's what led us to the story that we tell over and over again now. And I think you really need a simple story that's catchy, that has a hook to it, because there are thousands of cybersecurity companies, and they all say the same thing. They all say, we'll prevent everything, and we'll detect everything, and then we'll remediate everything. Well, if you prevented it, you wouldn't need to detect it. And if you already did that, you wouldn't need to remediate anything in the first place. But everyone says that. And like, if you went through the halls at an RSA or a Black Hat, back when there still were events, yeah, it'd be very difficult to understand who does what. And I think part of it, there's a few reasons for that. One is just, it's hard to be distinct, and it's hard to get something across that's both clear and concise, quick enough that someone can identify what bucket to put you in. But I think the other part is a lot of marketing in cybersecurity is purposefully vague, because the idea is we'll just say something and hopefully they'll get a demo, and if they get a demo, they'll buy our thing. So I can't possibly overstate how important it is to get a story that is really clear, that's differentiated, that anybody at your organization can tell in a way that someone's going to remember. Because not only does that matter for end users, it also matters for, say, journalists, for press, for analysts. Everyone has competing priorities, and you're not it. And if you can get that story out in a way that someone will remember it, it's about the most valuable thing you can have.
Yeah, no, that's a great answer. Thank you very much. And so what do you think that makes marketing in cybersecurity different to, potentially other industries?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things that are fairly unique about marketing in cybersecurity. And first, and I see this an awful lot, is that a lot of times the marketers in cybersecurity don't have a very deep technical background, and that can be intimidating, right? It can make it so that you just go ahead and use FUD all the time and just say, if you don't buy this thing, you will get hacked. And I'll tell you, the end users and the audience that sees that see it all day, every day, and they're just sick of it, right? Actually, a while back, posted something on LinkedIn. I think it was the Capital One breach or something like that, where I said, the next time something like this happens and there's another big breach, just stick your head out the window and you'll hear the sound of 1 million PowerPoints updating, because everyone says, we would have stopped this, we would have found this wouldn't have happened if you just bought our thing. Yeah. And so the flip side of that coin is that I think the market, the people that are receiving this message, are fairly jaded because everyone promises everything, right? So because everyone promises that they will protect you from everything that could possibly go wrong, you tune that out. It's noise. And so I think that's part of the problem here. We have a jaded audience that is rightfully jaded because they've been promised the world and the world hasn't been delivered. Then you also have a lot of products that look, sound, act alike. And so it makes it really, really difficult to get that message across, to say that this is something that can really help you. And not only that, you have to think about it too, where imagine being a chief information security officer. First of all, I would never even have a phone nearby me because it would never stop ringing.
That's true.
Just think of all of the people coming after you, and everything sounds exactly alike. So how would you ever decide what product to use? It would be really tough. And there's the fact that up until now, the world is still spinning, the lights are still on, and you still have a job, even though you don't have this product that someone is pitching. So it may be the most important product to that person pitching it, but up until now, everything has seemed to go okay without it. So there's a lot of different dynamics to it. It's the audience has heard and seen everything, has been promised the world, things that are just undifferentiated. They don't stand out, and tomorrow you'll forget. So as a marketer, you have to keep that in mind, that There's a lot of challenges. It's a noisy, crowded market changing every single day. And I kind of love that challenge anyway.
I was going to say, yeah, it sounds very, very challenging. And I often think, well, you know, because it is so challenging and there's a lot of competition, why would you then do that job?
Why wouldn't you sign up for something that's hard, right? That's the whole idea. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a huge challenge, but if you're able to do it, it's like magic, right? So I'll give the example of my favorite, which is the RSA Innovation Sandbox, which we won in 2019, right? So here's the big challenge. You're going to be one of 10 people on a stage in front of 2,500 people live, and then some multiple of that watching online. You have 3 minutes and 10 slides to show everyone in attendance and a panel of judges why you're the most innovative company in cybersecurity. Go. That's a challenge, right? And so what you do is you take that big challenge and you say, all right, I'm really excited about trying this. I'm also terrified, but that's fine. Let's put that aside. Now, how do we break that down? And how do you build a story that hits exactly all of the points that the audience cares about, that the judges are looking for? How do you do that? And it's that challenge, but it's a tangible challenge, right? There's going to be an outcome. I know what that's going to be. And so to me, it's the challenge that is like, gets me out of bed in the morning, really excited to do this. So you always want to do hard things, because when you're able to do it and succeed, it's amazing. I mean, like you said earlier, how we talked about being the Toyota Camry of cybersecurity, or we say that we solved the least sexy problem in cybersecurity. After we won the Innovation Sandbox, I had people come up to me like, oh yeah, you guys, you're the unsexy guy, or you guys are the Toyota Camry. I'm like, I love that, and I'm fine wearing that for the rest of my life because you remembered. And I don't care, it doesn't hurt my ego even a little bit. Let's do it. And that felt amazing.
No, brilliant, absolutely. And I found your video as well, which you've recorded quite recently, about it's a really high level cybersecurity marketing plan, which is very interesting, and I'm sure that others will find it too. So I suppose for those listening and watching, tell me a little bit about that plan and how that's led you to your success.
Yeah, so there are a lot of different kinds of relationships that you can have between the CEO, sales, marketing. And I think almost anyone that's had a career in marketing, or for that matter, sales, has run into a scenario where marketing gets a bunch of leads from a list or from a vendor. They say, my job is done, here, sales, you go do it. And then if things aren't going well at that company, sales says, marketing gives me garbage. Marketing says, well, if sales could just do their job, then that's what the problem is. And so that is the worst situation to be in. And it almost never gets better once it starts on that foot. And so for the last few companies that I've been at, when I start early on at the company, and before we even really define the relationship between sales and marketing, I wanted to come up with a way where we're basing how we interact and how we judge performance based on numbers instead of emotion or feeling or whatever else. So I wanted to start with this idea of what are the kind of immutable facts? What are the things that everyone is going to agree on? And that way that's going to guide how we judge how we're performing going forward. And so I developed this, it's like a spreadsheet. It's not rocket science, but all we do is we say, given our ARR goal for the year, let's say it's $5 million, whatever, and given our average sales price, we need this many customers. Now let's come up with a opportunity to win rate. We'll put a percentage in there, and SQL to opportunity rate, MQL to SQL, and then you get some numbers. And you say, I need to deliver this many MQLs to get to this many SQLs to get this many opportunities, and that's how we're going to get to our number. And then the next level down is, well, the year isn't flat, right? We're going to get 60, 70% of our revenue in Q4. That's just how the world works, right? So then I look across the year and say, on a month-to-month and quarter-to-quarter basis, this is what I need my marketing team to produce so that sales can get to their number. Now, it seems really simple. It is, right? But a lot of times the conversations between sales and marketing aren't at that level. Instead of, I was just talking to someone recently who was saying, I've got our VP of sales inspecting the titles of my blog posts. I'm like, why? Why did they care about that? The only reason they care about that is you started the relationship on the wrong foot and not having something that they can measure, and you can say, this is what marketing is responsible for. This is our SLA to sales. We are going to provide this many leads that are sales ready over the course of the year. Here's how we're going to do it. And that's kind of it, right? Then it's up to marketing to decide what are those tactics, what are those campaigns we're going to run, what is the content we're going to build. And so it's just a very different conversation when you start out on just objective sets of facts. The beauty of it too is that as the team grows, right, as the sales team grows, as you segment differently, enter different vertical markets, you can then start to slice the data to say, all right, in mid-market, we know that our opportunity to win rate is this percent, but in large enterprise, it's different. Not only that, if we're in federal, it's different there, and the Southeast is different. Like, you can, over time, start to see the trends and really tighten up what those percentages are, what you need to get and when. Then look at the things like the average time to a deal. It's probably different from one segment to another. You start having all of this data and you can get really forecastable and repeatable. And that's what any company is trying to do. So it's something that was, it's subtle, it's simple, but it's something that for 3 companies has really helped define the relationship between sales and marketing, but also our performance, so that on a given month, we can pivot and say, you know what? Based on our projections, they're not hitting. We're going to change up the series of tactics and programs that we're running to get the numbers where they should be.
No, brilliant. That's a great answer. And as I think anyone that's from any division within cybersecurity should definitely take note of your plan. I thought it was great. In terms of, I suppose, the future of marketeers in cybersecurity, what piece of advice would you give? Someone who's considering their options next move?
That's a really good question. Well, the first thing I'll say is there are more jobs out there than you know about. And so one of the things, because I work with cybersecurity startups, I hear from a lot of VCs that are even, just funding a company and saying, and this is what's changed a lot in the last 5 years or so, is that all of them are starting to look at marketing first. Now that, like I said before, that used to be an afterthought. So there are companies out there you have not ever heard of yet, already trying to get their first marketing hire. And you just don't know that those jobs are out there, but there's a lot of them. And so I recently was talking to someone that left their last job, and that day had, I think, 6 interviews signed up, all for the first marketing hire in cybersecurity role. And not only that, one of the VCs that I know very well is trying to build kind of an institutional culture where for every single startup that they fund, they want to immediately help in getting their message together and kind of do marketing in a box for the first announcement that the company has been funded. So there's a lot going on out there. I think networking is probably the biggest thing you can do. LinkedIn is by far the best in terms of getting connected to the right people. But yeah, the jobs are out there. I think you have to think of it 2 ways too, where it's not just you selling yourself, it's understanding, is it a good fit for both of you? So yeah, I think networking is huge. Being connected to as many people as you can in the different groups that are out there. There's a lot of WhatsApp groups just for cybersecurity marketers. There's Slack communities. But get involved with all of those, and then that way, once something comes up, you'll know more about it. But also, you just want to be connected to all of the right people in cybersecurity, and there's just so much benefit to be gained from having that network of marketers in cybersecurity. I mean, just today, someone was reaching out saying, has anyone ever used this vendor for this type of virtual event? And like 10 people immediately said, here's where I saw success. These are the problems that they had. So there's all of these people that you can rely on. You don't have to do this all yourself. The more connected you are and the more you help other people, the more you get in return. And you know, it's always worth it to connect to like-minded people, even if they're competitors.
Yeah. No, I think that's fantastic advice, and particularly like about sort of joining those networks. I mean, you know, what would you say some of the top Slack channels were?
So let me look right now. We got it right here. So there's one that is called Cybersecurity Marketing Society. It's cybermsociety.slack.com. And it's just a group, and it's very new. It's like a month old maybe,
Oh, brilliant.
of just cybersecurity marketers that meet. I'm going to say it's every 2 weeks, and do like a Zoom call with everyone. But it's a very active community with things like you know, all of the resources, vendor recommendations. There's a thread right now on RSA, on some virtual events. So there's a ton of different threads, and it's like I've probably posted on this 3 times today. So this is a very, very active one.
Oh.
And then there's some WhatsApp channels. There's one that's called Cyber Marketing Pros, and another which is Cyber Executives. So yeah, they're absolutely out there. You can definitely find them, and I would look on LinkedIn too. But yeah, they're out there. They're worth joining. And if you've got a question, someone already probably has either answered it or seeking the same answer. Like I was just looking for a tool in Salesforce that helps you categorize job titles. I've already got 3 answers from 3 different people that have done exactly the same thing. So it's a lot better than trying to do all of this on your own. And it's that networking has changed for the better because of things like this.
Yeah, no, brilliant. Well, thanks so much for that advice. And thanks so much for speaking with me today. You know, I absolutely love your approach to marketing, particularly the fact that you bring the humour. I'm going to be in anticipation for your next episode. See who that celebrity is. But no, thanks so much, Nathan. I really do appreciate it, and hopefully we'll get you on in the near future.
All right, sounds good. This was a lot of fun, and anybody that wants to connect with me, you know, just find me on LinkedIn. It's just Nathan W. Burke. I'm always happy to connect and help out in any way I can.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you.